Hang on. I'm trying to find where's our link on Facebook so that I can share to the Daniel. Can you share to uh the live itself? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so
someone is
Geoff,
asking.
yeah.
Yeah.
What
Where's the
life? What life you talking about?
the
What
Facebook
life you
Live?
talking about? Oh,
Facebook Live. Yeah. Hang on.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you shared already.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Cool. Then I think we need to update this one. Edit post. Okay. All right. Okay. Hi, Stefan. How are you? Hey, suddenly the camera went off again.
I'm good. I'm good. Oh, my children are just running.
Wow.
hello.
Say hello.
Hello.
You remember Uncle Geoff or not?
I think he don't remember your
Don't remember
wife.
me. Hi.
Say hello.
I took your picture the other day. You remember? I took your picture.
Do you remember he
No.
took your picture? Uncle Geoff.
Yeah.
Uncle
No.
Geoff. Uncle Geoff. Uncle Geoff.
He said.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Imagine she shout out, "Hey, 怪叔叔."
Yeah. This is like a conference call.
How can I do that?
Yeah, you can swipe left,
Yeah.
swipe right.
Oh, play. Don't anyhow swipe left, swipe right.
Hey, you're talking to a married man. Sorry, keep it.
Hey, no, why are you
decent.
teaching your daughter? Why are you teaching your daughter? Swipe left.
Okay. I'm gonna be silent. I'm gonna be silent. I want to toast from
That
you.
went so wrong so fast.
Okay, please.
Stefan.
Okay. I'll go silent already. Okay, we're all here for you. Thanks, Geoff.
Thanks, man. See you
Bye,
in a
Brian.
while.
Yes.
Bye bye. Yeah. See you later. Okay. So, yeah, let's wait another 5 more minutes. I think more people are coming in. I think maybe a lot of people are still having dinner. So, Geoff, how's your day?
Oh, it's been a long day. I've been shooting since 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
But
So, what, you went out to shoot or?
No, I've been shooting exactly here, sitting down here since 9 a.m. at my desk at home in my home office, shooting since 9 a.m. today, and I just wrapped at about 7:30 p.m. today.
Nice.
It was my first remote shoot with a production house in Jakarta, so that was, I must say, quite an experience. A lot of potential. I'm so excited about it. There will be new content. I will literally be turning this into a case study and on how to execute a remote shoot, so to speak.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting times, I tell you.
Nice.
To be honest, I've been so juiced about this for the past few weeks, prepping into this shoot, and coming up with all the various techniques and ways of working remotely, literally remotely. I was literally triggering the camera from here, miles away. So that was quite an experience, seriously. Yeah.
Cool. That's interesting. Yeah. Maybe we could do a breakdown of what you have done after, everything is set in stone and then stabilize and yeah, you'll be quite interesting.
So a bit of advanced secret news to you guys in the crowd. On the 25th of June, I'll be doing a webinar for phase one. And it would be covering exactly this topic. So that is something exciting. And Harrod, HRT Harrod over there, who just came in, that's he's He's the executive producer
Hi.
/ good friend / photographer that managed the shoot for me in terms of this remote shoot. So we collaborated on this very exciting day today. I think you can see his smile. Both of us are just smiling like that all day.
It's crazy,
it, was, it was crazy. It
I
was
just see Geoff photo shoot. It was when I see all the portfolio is DI is just one shot, you know. The lighting is so perfect. I never imagined Geoff can get that kind of lighting without DI. Oh my
Thank you. I think the funny thing, and Harold, we spoke about this a while back, in one of our many conference calls over the last couple of weeks. We kind of said that this whole pandemic could potentially be an equalizer in the photographic world, in a sense, right? It takes a very experienced photographer to be able to work and light remotely.
Yes.
So I was literally thinking and projecting myself over to your studio in Jakarta, and I was lighting with almost two hands and two legs tied, with one eye missing, and I had to go everything by feel, by experience, to know where to put the light, to know what kind of power to set the light, and the height of the light, the angle of the light, and so on and so forth. So it was quite interesting when I remember you said it to me. This could be quite the equalizer, in terms of photographers moving forward. So who knows? I don't know. Maybe the younger photographers need to catch up and learn lighting skills to be able to light. And I think today's topic about lighting will be very, very informative and educational for everybody, because I'll be teaching you how to light virtually. So that in itself is going to be very exciting, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so before we start in a couple more minutes, so what you can do is that in the chat below, all right, say hi, tell everybody what you're doing. Some of you are maybe students or what, you can leave your IG handle as well so that we can follow each other, check each other's work out as well. Yeah, I think we have a few new names today that we have never seen before. Yeah, looking good. All right, don't be shy to say hi as well. If you have any questions that you want to ask later, you can ask in the chat. Alternatively, later on in the session, we may open up to open questions and answer so that you can actually just press spacebar to speak into the microphone. Yeah, and ideally, you see, right now we have, close to 40 people, but there's only like what, 4 of us with our camera on. So maybe you can turn on your camera just to show us your face, just hang out like
like we would
a real
in
session,
person.
yeah,
Yep,
in
that's
person,
always
so that
nice.
we
Always
can see
nice.
your faces as well. Hey, hello,
Hi.
hi
Hi,
Don,
Doc. Pleased
hi
to meet you.
MJ.
MJ, hi. Lovely. Casey, lovely. See, I love seeing faces.
Yes.
Welcome.
Sorry, my kids having a violin lesson, so it's a bit noisy here now. So I don't mute
Yeah.
it.
No, it doesn't matter. Mute it, as long as we can see
Yeah.
you. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Eric, hi. Lovely.
Hi Terrence.
Hello. Terrence, hi. Awesome. Lovely seeing
Lovely.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have been on Zoom since 9 a.m. today, so non-stop. So it's been a long day.
Yeah. So kind of cool to see. This time around we got more people on camera. Yeah, I hope to see more people on camera as well. DGT, come on. Yeah, Kremlin, maybe. Daniel as well. Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay, don't be shy. Yeah.
Hey,
Wow.
Danon.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie, ski
Hi,
instructor.
Rogan.
Rogan, pleased to meet you. Lovely.
Hey,
Dawis,
Don.
Don, another Don.
Yeah.
Lovely. Super. Everybody had dinner? Yes. Lovely. Good.
So, honestly, I'm on the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
that looks amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, it's
satay?
satay.
Yeah.
Where's my food? Why didn't you feed me production food?
One
Oh,
day production, I forget to take a dinner. So
Oh,
can I
shit.
start it?
yes. Yeah.
Eat. Makan,
Please.
makan, please, please.
Yeah.
Please, silakan,
I miss
silakan.
Indonesian food, man. Yeah. Especially the nasi padang, sari indah. Yeah.
No, Padang is always for me, pagi sore.
Pagi sore.
Yeah. No. Wait till you try the sari indah. Wow. That
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Hmm.
My whole family eats
Harinda
there.
also
Yeah.
nice.
Mm.
Yep.
Hmm.
I think there's a pagi sore in Singapore.
Oh.
Different,
Yes.
different.
Yeah, it'll never
Very
be the same.
different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Because the Singapore food a bit too clean already, so it's you don't get the taste.
But personally, I don't know how pagi sore is going to move on with the new way of eating, because pagi sore is everything come, right? Then you can't
Yes.
finish, they take back.
Yeah.
And then they serve to the next table.
Hmm.
How is
Yeah.
that going to happen in the new world? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, very
But
different.
I miss Singapore laksa.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, awesome. Katong laksa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Next time I bring you. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Tsuai. Hi, Jingyi. Lovely seeing you all. I love seeing faces. Awesome, awesome.
Yeah. It's a good crowd today. So I think let's begin. Okay. Time is almost up. So this 15 minutes is up. So let's get on. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. Hey, where's our deck?
Where's our deck?
One coming up.
Okay. Sorry, all of us are on Friday mood. Yeah.
No worries, Terence, if you must. Yeah, but good seeing you nonetheless.
Yeah. Okay, so for those who are first time here, I see a lot of new faces. Geoff and I, we founded Raw together, and while we are here talking to you through a webcam, we actually have a physical studio in Niven Road, where we do our usual sessions like that live, like live with real audience, yeah, so that people can see and ask questions and things like that. So unfortunately, while this whole pandemic is going on, this is the only way that we can get to everybody. Yeah. So I look forward to see all of you in real life. When we reopen our studio in maybe phase 2 or phase 3, and then we'll have a nice party so that we celebrate meeting all of us. On Zoom. Yeah, it's like tele
Yep.
meeting first, and then after we
Yep.
meet in real person.
Yep. That'd be so awesome. That'd be so
Yep.
awesome if we once that happens.
So today's session is gonna be a bit technical. No, in fact, it's gonna be very technical. But at the same time, we will allow questions, so you can ask your questions in the chat. We will come back to you as soon as we can. Okay, so don't be shy to mingle and ask questions. And yeah,
Okay.
so Geoff is going to be breaking down the lights based on the pictures that people have chosen. So earlier on in the week, we actually put up a few pictures for people to choose to see how they want to, how the light setup was being done. Yeah, and it's going to be, Geoff is going to show you exactly how it is in a 3D model.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So Geoff,
Cool.
take it out.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks, Brian. Welcome, everybody. Lovely, fun day today. I'm very excited, even after coming out of a whole day of being on Zoom. I think I'm still very psyched. I'm still very pumped. It's been adrenaline filled all day shooting online, so I'm gonna keep it going so I don't lose my momentum. Okay, I'm gonna share screen now, and we're gonna briefly talk about lighting, right? Let's see. Hang on. Oops, wrong one. Let's stop this. Wrong screen. When you have two screens, it becomes very complicated. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. So I think after voting, everybody chose this image and this image. These are the two images chosen. Yeah. So perhaps I will go with the first one first, and then perhaps when we have time, I will then break it down to the second image with you. Okay. Now, lighting, straight up lighting. Okay, lighting can be a bit of a dark arts to some people, but if you know and have very good fundamentals, be it one light, be it 100 lights, it can actually be very, very straightforward. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to literally do the shoot right from the start on this software called Set a Light. Right. What you're seeing right now is looking kind of funky at the moment. In a way, it's you have a model on her all fours, which is kind of wrong at the same time. But that was literally how this image was shot. The model was, my wife was on all fours. It's a yoga pose. She was on her way to a downward dog. So I think that's how we're gonna start this. Okay. As you can see, this particular software, Set a Light, it's a very interesting software for a very simple reason. Number one, you are able to pre-light without actually going into the studio. You are able to do your setups and your fuck ups before you even step into a studio, which is kind of cool. Prior to this, there has been other kinds of software. I believe this is the current standard in terms of pre-lighting and virtual lighting, but I still feel that they still have a long way to go because it's not as friendly, and you actually need a fairly powerful computer to move this software along.
Yeah, otherwise you'll lag.
Yeah, all that being said, I think it is still very, very useful. I have personally used it to do a lot of my pre-lights. When I don't have the opportunity to physically pre-light, I will then use this software to do it. The way I'm speaking, Set a Light should be paying me, but anyway. Okay, so as simple as you grabbing a character. Yeah, you can grab a character, move it, bring it into the shot. You can start to move the model around. You can start to pose the model by picking some standard poses that they have, or you can literally move the model, right? By going into a posing mode, you can then move the hand. You can move the hand, you can move the pose, and so on and so forth. You can even actually even choose the kind of outfit the model is wearing, and so on and so forth. Change the color of the outfit, etc. So it's very, very useful.
Any new ones?
Yes, you can go nude and do a boudoir if you want. Okay, but yeah, so it's actually very, very interesting. You can go right down to the makeup, as you can see. Let me zoom in. This is the really unfriendly part, is all the zooming that's really not very friendly, right? But you can change makeup, you can change the color of the eye, and so on and so forth. So it's actually kind of cool, right? Actually, oops, kind of cool, right? There you go. You can change the color of the eyes. You can do a lot to get it close to your actual shoot, so to speak, right? So that's kind of nice. I like it. For the ability for you to tweak the poses even to get it right. So here I've already done like a cooking show, the base, which is essentially that pose that my wife did when we were doing that particular fitness shoot with that funky colors. Okay, which is she's on her way to a downward dog, obviously. Yeah. Okay, so I chose the size of the studio. I got the pose right. Now I'm going to come into permalight. Permalight are essentially existing light, continuous light sources, right? Which are LEDs or tungstens or HMIs and so on and so forth. These are permalight. We've got monolight, which are all the flashes. These are all the flashes, essentially. As you can see here, all the flashes, right? Here are all the flashes that you can use to point at the model. You can control the power of the lights, right? Etc. etc. You can choose all the various kinds of modifiers, from a parabolic to a soft box to a strip box, and so on and so forth. But for this shoot, I'm going to be using the permalight, which are continuous light sources, because I lit this entire shot with LEDs. Now, breaking down this shot, how many of you could tell me through the chat very quickly how many lights was used? Come on, how many lights was used? Quick one. Rapid fire, let's go. Let's go, rapid fire. Tell me how many lights was used. Type it in, let's go. 3, 4. Okay, wait, I count myself.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
Okay. Okay, I see 5, I see 2, I see 3. Okay, exactly 4. All right. If you look at it.
Luckily I got it right. Yeah.
Okay, look at it. First, the first very obvious light is obviously this light, being what I call the key light, right? The key light is usually what you want to use to be the main light. That's what we call key light, main light. Okay, that would then be the most obvious looking light, so to speak. And this is the key light. So this light on the face, the sharpest point, lighting this entire bit of face, that is your key light. Okay, so that's 1, right? Then we have 2, which is the orange light coming from the back. Then obviously we have 3, which is the magenta light. Then some of you may say, where's the 4th light? Very simply here. You see this rim light here? There's another similar color light, like the key light, coming from the side. That's your 4th light, right? There could potentially be another light lighting the background. Some of you who go 5, quite possibly, yes. There might be a 5th light lighting the background, or I could also potentially use the 4 lights that I have to light everything, including the background. So that could also work depending on the kind of studio space that you have. Okay, so very simply, I also purposefully built this studio size in terms of the size of the studio, as you can see, to be roughly the size of Raw Studio, which is really, really small. If those of you who have came to Raw, you would know over here, this is the main door. So maybe I could put the main door here. Okay, I will say this is the main door. This is the main door coming into Raw Studio.
Yep,
right?
that's right.
This is exactly where the main door is. Okay.
I think
and
the
then we
length
do
4 by 3 meters.
Yeah, exactly. This is about roughly the size of the studio. Then we have 3 windows on the side here, which is here, and so on and so forth, right? Here, I give you one more. Let's move it here, and then we got another one here. So we have these 3 windows here that essentially are windows that come through daylight, right? Okay, so I have my camera set roughly. I will start lighting. So as I said before, it was lit with LED tubes, right? I've been using LED tubes for quite a while now. I've got, I think, 18 tubes in the studio of different kinds of lights. They are essentially RGB tubes, which means I can dial in any color I want. They are very, very useful because they are very pretty bright. Some of them are battery operated. Some of them are cable operated. But the beauty of it is I don't need gels anymore, right? I don't need color gels. I can just literally dial in whatever color I want. Okay, so here I have 1 light. Okay, I will start off by lighting the main light here. Okay, so let me zoom in a little. Let me zoom in a little so that you can see. All right. Let me move the camera a little bit. It gets a bit funky moving on the camera. But,
so while Geoff is setting up, so the light tube looks something like that, but his what we have in the studio is, you know, much longer. I think it's about 1.2 meters long, right?
Yeah, about there, 1.2. Yeah.
So this is the shorter version. So you can change color, but this is a bicolor light tube. Yeah, something similar to this.
So I'm going to use the next usable one, which is, you know, as long as it is in terms of the length. You know, obviously the ones that we have are literally a tube, but this one's a lot thicker. This one is similar to the sky panels that are made from RE, right? Okay, so I'm going to just position this main light here. I'm going to gel it as well. So very quickly, I'm going to come in here, pick a color gel. I believe the color was a bit cyanish, purplish. So let's go somewhere here. Let's try and dial it in. Let me toggle. Okay, it's a lot more cyan, right? Let me come down to cyan. Yeah, kind of there, kind of there. That looks kind of cool. Okay, so as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm finessing this light. And what you want to pay attention to is the way the light is hugging the chest, okay? How it's hugging the chest, okay? And how it's framing the light as well on the right side of her face, okay? As you can see, if I rotate around her too much, you're not going to get the light on the left side of the face. So I want to find that sweet spot where I'm getting a little bit of light just covering the nose, reaching all the way to the lip, right? And then all the way down to the line of the face, to the middle. So I'm going to rotate this light and find that sweet spot where my light would just about hug the light and at the same time casting that little bit of shadow on the other side of the face, right? So that's kind of nice. Let me brighten it up to get a nice little punch. Again, when I talk about light, I like to see that punch. When the light is too far away, for example, you're going to lose the punch, you see? You don't get that specularity of the light, right? So that your light must always come to a nice distance, where it's not too burnt, but not too far away to lose the punch. You can see the light starting to shape the face a lot better on the highlights. That's where you get that punch of light. Okay, I like it here. I find that it is almost there. Let me brighten it up a little bit more to further emphasize that light. There, I think this is a good angle for that light, for example. Okay, I'm going to bring another one in. Okay, this one's going to be without a light stand. I'm going to float this light. And then I'm going to gel it orange, right? Let's toggle it again. It's going to be orange, this nice orange glow. So I'm going to come here to the color gel, come to orange perhaps, a nice rich orange, maybe somewhere here. Maybe can go a little bit richer in the orange. Let's see now. There. Yeah, that's kind of nice, right? Okay, now looking at this orange light, very simply, okay? As you can see in this little box on the bottom right, you can see the placement of the light. You can see the placement of the light, right? If, for example, I am straight to camera, you can see one straight line here. You can see one straight line here, right? From this light to the model to the camera, you see one straight line. If I'm like that, obviously this side of the head is not going to be lit because it is being blocked. You can see this edge is being blocked by this head to the camera. So what I will do, if you look at my shot, there's actually a bit of spill on this side of the hair, right? So you want to move your top light a little bit around so that you get a bit of reach into the hair, into the shoulders here, right? That's kind of how you want to position that hair light. And then you also want to finesse it. You want to finesse it and in a certain position where you don't get it hugging out. You can see the light is hugging out. It's coming across. So be very careful with that. You want to find that nice sweet spot where it just accentuates but doesn't climb over the body, so to speak, right? So again, reflecting back into my shot, it's just a very nice rim, okay? So maybe here in my virtual light is still a little bit too forward. So let's push it back a little to get it. That's that nice little crisp line. But as you move further back, obviously it's going to get weaker, right? So maybe I need to readjust my position a little bit. Let me come around and then maybe I'll drop the angle of it as well. When the minute I drop, it's going to come just enough. Oops, it's in shot. There we go, out of camera view. There, you get this nice, beautiful, rich edge, for example, right? Okay, then maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing it a little bit so I get it onto the side of the shoulders. As you can see, it's starting to highlight a little bit of the shoulders here. That's kind of cool, right? That's kind of cool. Loving where this is going, right? Edge light, main light, lit, quite simply. Okay, now let's start to do a fill light. Fill light being that magenta light, for example, here. Okay, I'm going to bring another light, plonk it in here. Before I even do anything, maybe what I'll do is I'll change the color of the gel very quickly. Let's go purple. right? A nice purple. That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. Too bright, obviously, right? With colors, you shooting with colors, shooting with LED, shooting with color gels or whatsoever. We got to be very, very careful about what we call sensor burn. Okay, sensors in digital cameras today have limits, right? There's a limit where it crosses the threshold. The sensor or the camera will then not know what that color is because it's beyond the spectrum of the ability of the sensor. And then it would create this very ugly burnt color that's like overcooked. So that's when you will see a sensor burn in those image. That you got to be very careful how saturated your colors are or how over-colored your tubes are or your LEDs are to cause a sensor burn. Obviously, cheaper cameras with cheaper sensors with lower tonal range will have more sensor burn, obviously, right? Your bigger sensors like a phase one, obviously, have sensors that are literally this big. It's a 6x7 size sensor that will have so much more fidelity to allow you to carry those colors, for example, right? So careful with the power output of your sensor. I mean, your light. Yeah. Okay. Oops. I think I did something wrong. I twisted the camera. Let me move this light away. It was in shot. Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool, huh? The laser. Okay. So bring this light down to the point where it feels a little bit underlit. Right. I made it a little bit underlit. If you notice, it feels a little bit underlit. Why? Because it got into the net. I want to get into all the crevices. Now, quite simply, this light is to fill in the shadows, as you can see. Okay, let me off this light as well. Let me off this light. There's a lot of shadows, as you can see, right? You can see shadows in the collarbone, shadow in the arm, and so on and so forth, right? Maybe I might want to even shift this a little bit more. Shift this a little bit more so I get even more shadows here, right? That's where I want the shadows to happen. So essentially, this magenta light is filling in the shadows. Whatever that shadow will turn into magenta. Okay, so I am almost segregating the arm, segregating the human form into blocks. What's black will become magenta, what's white will become blue, so to speak, right? And then I'll pull another light because I found when I was lighting, after doing this, at some point I might go, okay, you know what, I'm happy with this. But to be honest, I'm not very happy because I feel there's something lacking on this side where the purple is existing, because the purple became a little bit too rich for my taste. Let me make this a little bit more cyanish. Let me make it stronger. I think it needs that punch. Yeah. Okay. So I'm liking this. Let me cut this a little bit more. I think this should be just a little bit of a kiss. Yeah, right? Something like that's kind of nice. Okay. So I bring another light in, and then I start to hug the model's edge here. I start to hug the model's edge. As you can see, it's starting to create this little cocoon of light around the model. And the height of the light as well affects greatly the way I would position all my lights, so to speak, right? Because you have to see the human form as a certain amount of thickness. There's a certain amount of thickness in the human form. The head is a certain amount of thickness. The arm is a certain amount of thickness. The body in itself, the whole torso, there's a certain amount of thickness to girth to that, right? So we have to be very sensitive to all these various thickness in the human form, for example. Okay, here this is still white for now, but I'm gonna dial up the color, and then I'm gonna pump a color here. Why is this color this? Let me see. Let's see. No, you know what? Let me throw this away. I'm gonna duplicate this light instead. Duplicate this light because it's the same color, and then I'm gonna come here, and then boom, there, right? So this light almost frames the shot. It's a sandwich light, right? The blue on one end and then another blue on the other end. It kind of sandwiches everything and bites everything, because without this light, I find without this light, it was just a bit too overbearing. The purple was taking the chunk of the image. Okay, I could potentially obviously soften the purple, dim the purple down to a bare minimum, but I still felt that it was missing something. That's why I found that adding another same colored light on the opposite side to double edge the shot just made it so much more classier. You know, for me, it's about all this small little nuance of lighting that makes my lighting classier, I hope to think, at least, right? Let me burn this a little bit more because I feel it could be a lot brighter. There we go. There, that's kind of nice, right? Maybe the orange can be a lot brighter, but I think the output of this particular light in this software is a little bit limiting. Maybe what I can do is I could cut down the power of everything else. I cut down the power of everything else by 20%. This one's fine by about 20%. And then it's just like photography, right? And then you open up your aperture. You open up aperture to maybe, or maybe no, you don't open up aperture. You work on shutter speed. Open up shutter speed a little bit. There, you see your orange is starting to come alive already. Okay, starting to come alive. This light is so overbearing. Let me cut down the studio light, switch off the studio light as well. There, starting to come alive. Okay, let me push this light further back. Maybe it's too close as well. There, almost, starting to look good. Let's open up my aperture a little bit. 3.5. Okay, I'm gonna burn this a little bit more to get that the chest. I'm gonna get a bit of light onto the chest, as you can see. Right, I'm coming in here. Okay, it's rendering. Yeah, boom. It's starting to look good. Let me move the camera a bit more. There, this is very similar to literally my shot. There, right? Okay, the other thing that everybody might be saying is, but the background is magenta, for example, right? That's because this light, this current light here, this light here, right, is affecting the that whole shadowed portion of the shot, which is essentially everything else that's in the dark, right? So the wall is obviously in the dark as well. That's why this is affecting. Every other light is pointing away from the wall. So if, say, for example, I got only 4 lights, but I want the background to be blue, right? Very simply, you've got a long light, right? By way of long, I mean, if you look at the top view, your lights are pretty long. They are long, right? I can actually rotate the light and still get light enough for the model, but yet enough for the background as well. So quite possibly, this is what I do. Straight away, I come here, and then I rotate this light, for example, to get it to open up, to hit a little bit of the background and the model all at the same time, right? Get rid of that shadow a little bit. Okay, this light as well, I can totally swing it as well. It will still affect the model, but yet it's touching the background, as you can see. Just by spinning that light out, I'm brightening up the whole background, right? Wow. How about that, guys? How about that? Huh? How about that? Right? Almost similar. Maybe, then there needs to be some color grading in the software. Maybe color grading might help. But let me try to perfect this, okay? Let me perfect this. Let me change this bloody light. I'm not getting the right tone of light. It's pissing me off. Yeah, there you go, maybe. But that's a bit too bright at the same time. Because I remembered I graded this shot quite heavily. I put quite a heavy hand in my color grading in Capture One or over the image to get those colors to come so alive. So I think that was also the primary reason why that image looked the way it looked, right? Yeah, right. But yeah, I think at some point we need to get the magenta, that cyan out. The cyan is a very tricky color. Very, very tricky color to grab in this software. Let me try. I can't go full cyan, because if I go full cyan, it's actually too bright, too light, right? And the mouse is not very sensitive in this software, as you can see. So it's actually not a very, maybe I should darken this light to get the color out. Yeah, maybe. Does this work? Does this work? Kind of, almost. Yeah, let me darken my aperture a bit. Does it work? Yeah, maybe. Kind of. Yeah. Okay. So in essence, that's kind of how you know, you can open up the background to light different things. Obviously, if I want to get it exactly the same, I can always put another light. Let me throw another light out into the background. Let me throw another light out. I will remove this. Let me spin it. Let me spin it again. The angle of your light, you got to decide, you know, in terms of how you're gonna position your light, where you want it to be lit. Okay. I think I don't want it to be here. I think I should have it on the other side, because I got more opening on this side to light. Okay, let me spin this around. I'm gonna whoop, too many things. Let's redo this. Okay. All right. There we go. It's not so easy to move, I can tell you that. Okay, so here, let's change the color. Let's change the color to a dark blue. There, I think that's kind of nice. All right, let's drop the power a little bit. Yeah, that kind of works. This one, I believe I need to open up a little bit more. Maybe I shift. Yep. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? Any questions so far? In terms of how you like this? Of course, I'm kind of making it easy, but I need your questions to articulate it out for you, if I make sense what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay, I think since no one have any questions, maybe let's challenge you a little bit.
Okay.
When
Challenge me what?
when you wanted to do this shoot, yeah, no, I'll ask you the questions lah. So when
Okay.
you wanted to do this shoot, right? How do you even decide that, okay, this is the lighting that you want to do? How do you even design this lighting setup?
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good question. For me, the way I light, I always start off with my main light, which is this key light here. This is my key light. I always start off with that, and I always do short lighting. What's a short lighting? That means your light, right? Your light is essentially, let me try to switch off all the other lights, right? Your light is always on the 3/4 side of your camera. It's coming from the shorter side of the face, so to speak. That's where I always light my shot. Okay. This in essence, right? The minute I start to bring it over here, for example, I'm gonna lock it to the, wait, I'm gonna turn it to the model. Let me turn it to the model. Okay. And then if I lock it, okay. So if I place it here, to me, it's a flat shot. That's a very flat shot because it's just beside my camera. It's just beside my camera in essence, right? In essence, it's just beside my camera. And it would render the face very flat to me. And then even if I move it over here, and say I take this light away, right? Even if I move it over here, this is even worse for me because you're lighting the broad side of the face, right? So this is broad side, this broad lighting, broad side. You know, this to me is a big no-no. I never light from here because you're making the face broad, big, right? This is the shorter side of the face. It makes the face more cinematic. It makes the face more, just that much more sculpted in that sense. So I always start off with this light and then I sprinkle the other lights around. That's usually the way I start lighting. Always with the main source, finesse that in terms of the height of the light, the distance of the light, right? And the way it feels in terms of how it hugs the face. If the face is going to be very, very chin down, for example, I'm going to bring the light slightly lower. If the head is going to be a little bit more chin up, I'm going to bring the light higher to match that face. If this is the face, for example, if this is the face, the flatness of the face, right? And this is the light. If you can see, if you can see me, right? I'm going to just angle my hands, towards the face in that sense. That's how the light works in unison to the face. That's kind of how I finesse my light, be it this angle or this angle, how much I want. Okay. So let's say, for example, I only got one light. And let's take away this whole blue light, for example. Okay. Let me take away this blue light. So this starts most shoots. The colors are white and everything, right? And then most people would then ultimately throw in a reflector, right? You're throwing a white reflector, you're going to spin the reflector, and then I'm going to put it here. That will essentially do a bit of a bounce, right? It's going to open up all your shadow value. It's going to open up your shadow value. It's going to brighten up. So, yeah, in essence, that's almost how I light every shot, by starting off with that key light that is coming from the shot direction of a face.
Okay. So
Then
Geoff,
I
when you
s-
use this software, right, do you use this software to plan for most of your shoot? I think there's a question asking, do you trial and error with lighting? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the
Okay.
question is that do you usually plan your shoots with
Okay.
this software or do
Okay.
you trial and error? Yeah.
To be honest, I don't trial and error. I kind of know how to light. I don't really use this software much unless I have very little time to pre-light. Then I will try to get ahead of myself and do a pre-light using this software. Or if I need to brief my crew. So many a times, when I'm shooting, I have very big crews and I got many assistants. So if I have this software, I would then from here very easily export it out. So from here, I can do an export of this. All my assistants get to see exactly where my position of light is, and then I will do a snap of this whole scene for them. They can actually see, exactly where the lights are. Then at least they can get ahead of themselves remotely. I will email this to them. They can do the light setup first before I come, for example. Right? Or they can even the night before digest this so that going into the shoot the next day, they know what to do and what to expect as well. How many lights needs to be there, and how much rigging has to be done, how many boom arms need to come across the model, etc., etc. So these are the things that potentially one can do to use this software.
Okay, to add on to my earlier question,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's Don is asking, how do you even decide that you want to do this? I think the very basic of this concept of like what made you want to do this image? Is that what you're trying to ask, Don? Yeah. Maybe you can ask the question directly. Just press space bar and then yeah.
Yeah, that would help a lot.
Yeah.
Just talk to me. Come on, Don.
Hi, Geoff. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
So essentially, just want to know, how do you come up with that concept that you wanted to do this magenta color? I guess I'm trying to understand the source of your creative vision.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to do a series number one of a very colorful neon series, right? In this picture, in this whole series here. Okay, it started off, coming because I got these new tubes. I wanted to play around, So I got my wife to come to the studio in her yoga gear. She's a yoga teacher, and then to do a few moves while she's moving around. And then I started to play around with the position of the light. And then I started to finesse and play with different colors of the lights. It was all by feel, primarily because there wasn't a brief and there wasn't a client, obviously, so I could really seriously muck around with however way I wanted to move my light, And then I started to muck around. As you can see here, this entire series from here to somewhere maybe here, this is essentially one set of lighting. Then after that, I kind of got sick with this very, very pale look. I wanted something deeper and richer, for example, right? And so I started to tweak the lighting by introducing a richer tone. I wanted to go for a bluish, cyanish tone, which is kind of, trending, right? Nowadays. So I wanted to be a bit hip. I went with this whole cyan magenta look, to play around. And that's how I started to dial in the colors just by figuring out, okay, maybe this tube I want it to be a bit more cyan, and this tube I want to be less magenta, and then it came to a nice place in essence. Lighting for me is a lot about feel. It's a lot about how you gravitate towards something. You need to have a very keen sense of lighting and color to be able to know what works together, what gels together, and what light is not too overwhelming on top of that. So it's very much something that you kind of have to train yourself to understand in terms of lighting, whether it's too hot or too dark, and then how do you decide on a color, whether color harmony comes into play or not. All these things are all, to be honest, happening at the same time. It can be a little bit complicating in your head sometimes. So perhaps what you can do is to break it down. Light one part of the body, then light another part of the body, then add another light, and then add another light, and then you build around that. Then after that, what you do, you finesse. And that's a very, very big thing that I always say about lighting. You finesse. Finesse meaning go in there, do minute, small, soft, tweaks between this light and that light in terms of power output, this light and that light between color output in terms of color, in terms of power, distance, and so on and so forth. And then that's where you come to this shot. And then you start to feel something that works. And then that's where things start to look, a certain way, perhaps. Right? Do I make sense?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I hope I make sense. It's a bit complicating. I'm so sorry. Okay. What else?
Yeah.
Is it the tendency for you to
asking,
clamp the light?
how do you decide camera setting?
Okay. Camera settings. All right.
Yeah.
Camera settings, I always know going into any shoot straight away. Before I even light, I know what settings I want. That to me is the way I light. Be it flash, be it a continuous light source, it is always about knowing where you want your cameras to be, right? It's quite simple. Quite simple, seriously. You want a bigger opening so that you get a lot more blurring in the background, go for bigger aperture, right? You want something sharper in the background, go for a smaller aperture. But smaller aperture would always, obviously mean you need more power, you need more continuous light, you need more flash output, you need more juice in your flash. So obviously these are the considerations. So
at the same time, I think your lens choices as well. If you're shooting like very long lens and then you don't have the distance, even if you shoot at f8, your depth of field is just going to be very shallow as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A 2.8 on a 16mm is not going to be soft, for example, right? Those are basic photography. So going into this shoot, I know I wanted my background to be really, really blown, right? But I wanted a singular point of focus, be it the face. So for example, if you look at this image, it's actually a very, very shallow depth of field. You can see the hair here is already gone, right? And from the nose bridge to this eye to the ear is starting to drop already, the focus. So it's about a 2-3 inch distance already. So most probably I shot this with 2.8, for example, right? At 2.8, I'm going to be able to work with continuous light very, very well because I don't have much power in the continuous light. So going at 2.8, I know that's my fixed. And then my shutter speed, all right? The model is not going to be jumping much. The model is going to be relatively static. It's yoga after all. So she can hold the pose, for example. So I know I don't need fast shutter speeds, right? I can shoot at f, 200, 250 with a 70-200. I can handheld very stable. I'm happy with that. Of course, if I want to move fast, the model wants to move fast, I need to go at least, at least 400 or 640 or 1,000 shutter speed to get movements, right? So here, perhaps 250 shutter. Now, I'm cool with that. And then ISO, maybe I will go at 600 or 800 ISO because I want that range. I want to be able to dial my lights and control my lights better. I can use ISO to finesse. Obviously, I won't go anything above 1,000 because for me, that noise starts to become, whatever camera, I seldom go above 1,000. That is just my personal pet peeve about noise and grain. So with that, I'm locked in. I know exactly what shutter. I know exactly what aperture and ISO that I want, and then I will then dial my lights. I'll dial my lights by power, by distance, to get the right exposure. Be it continuous, be it flash, that's how I light. And if I'm working with flash, more often than not, I will set all my flash. It doesn't matter if this light is here, this light is all the way here, and this light is all the way here. It really doesn't matter where my lights are going to be. I will set all of them at 5.0. Quite simply, I will set all of them at 5.0 because flashes are usually 0 to 10. That's the power output. Because I use Profoto, it's 0 to 10, right? Even other brands also, more often than not, it's 0 to 10. So what I'll do is I'll go 5.0 because that's my baseline. That's my middle mark. I know I can finesse it more by 5 or less by 5. And then from there, I can power anything I want. So for example, I switch this on, I go half power, right? I switch this on, I go half power. Again, I'm going to on everything, yeah? You know what? Maybe I'm going to relight everything. I'm going to redo everything and going to start from scratch. Let me show you exactly how this is done. Okay, I will choose a very standard light. Okay, I'll choose a very simple light here. I'll put this on. Okay, so this light is this far away, and then I take one more hit. Okay, that's going to be here. This light is this position, and it's this close to the model, and it's maybe all the way here. And then I'm going to put one more light all the way there. Okay, right, and then maybe this light, I'm going to change the accessory. No, maybe no. Sorry, I'm going to bring another light in. I'm going to take an octa, right? I'm going to put an octa here. Same thing is going to be at 5.0, right? Let's go to 5.0, roughly, huh? Okay, this is a 6.0, maybe, okay lah. So, okay. All the lights start at okay, for example, right? All right. So as you can see, everything is blown, right? I'm going to dial in my camera settings very quickly. I put 200. Okay, maybe I go f5.6. Okay, this is my fix. This is my fix. I'm very happy at this shutter speed 320. I'm very happy with this. This is what I want to work with my camera. Okay, so the light has to meet my power now, right? So the light, from there, I'm going to finesse this light by dropping this power. So I'm going to take one shot. That first shot that I trigger on my capture one will come out this picture. This picture here is going to be overexposed. Everything's going to be all over the fuck shop, right? So very simply, I just go in and I don't even use the exposure meter. I come in, I just go poop, 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 poop. And then I come in, I go this one, I just go boop, 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 boop. And this one, I go bup, 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 bup. And then things start to come alive. Things start to come alive. I finesse. I toot, maybe this 1.3, that 1.2, that one, whatever. Maybe this one move back a little, and then from here, I just keep finessing, changing the settings. And then after a while, you will start to see your completed image that will look just about the way you like it. That's almost literally how I like anything that I do. Maybe this light is too powerful. Let's drop it down to 50 watt. Okay, 250 watt at 3.0. Maybe let's go down. Oh, that's the minimum already. Okay, let's push it away then, right? Then this light, perhaps I can boost up the power to get more edge here. That's kind of nice already. This one, let's bring down the power. Maybe my lights are too powerful. Let's go down to 250. Okay, if it's still too powerful, then I'll go in there and start finessing my everything else. I'll just cut down my everything else. And then that's how you start framing your shot and lighting your shot. For me, it can be 50 lights, it can be one light. That's how I start. I will literally put everything at 5.0. Yeah, do I make sense?
Okay, another thing to add on is also, you guys, if you are shooting with your camera, okay, whatever sometimes your camera see may not be the exact exposure that you get, especially if let's say, you have if your mirrorless camera sometimes appears brighter because the screen has got higher resolution, or things that you realize that your raw file actually is darker. Yeah. So things like that, if you're shooting tethered, it will potentially be able to see exactly how the picture will turn out. Yeah.
Yep,
If you're shooting
exactly.
out of your camera screen, most likely is that it could be potentially maybe half a stop under or half a stop over. Yeah.
Mm,
And then
mm.
if you're shooting in continuous light, like what Jeff's mentioned, the sensor burn will be, irrecoverable if you're overexposed. Yeah, even slightly. Because that
Mm.
half a stop, if you're pushing things to the max, you can't recover back that kind of magnitude in terms of light.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Actually, there's a bit of sensor burn here already, and that's also because I pushed my saturation. Can you see all this very funky? You see this line? You see this line meeting the two colors? This here. You see this fringing around? These are all sensor burn. This is exactly what's happening. Yeah, that's what a sensor burn is. Essentially, your sensor cannot blend these two colors properly, and that middle color starts to go black, right? And then that's what's happening. Very ugly. It can be very ugly. But here it's on a small portion, and I'm okay with it, whatever. And I'm not going to use this that much anyway. Yeah, I can see here actually. There's some sensor burn. Okay.
Okay. So Jeff, why do you use continuous light for this? I mean, I know you have the LED tubes, but in
Yep.
the olden
Yep.
days, we have gels.
Yep.
But why
Yep.
would you choose to use LED light
over strobe, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
There are two benefits for each kind of light. Flash obviously has its benefit for the fact that you can freeze things, right? I think that's perhaps the biggest advantage of flash. When I'm shooting fast motion things where I need very crispy, sharp stuff, you immediately get to work with flash. You will get very crispy, sharp images because it's flashed, right? The beauty of using continuous light, for example, to me, is I can see exactly what my light's doing. What you see is what you get, almost literally, right? Whereas flash, you can't see flash. So you need to think in a very abstract way when you light. You need to think what the flash is going to do. Because when you put a softbox, it looks beautiful, with your naked eyes, it looks beautiful. But when you flash and the flash is too powerful, it starts to bounce all over the place. And then it just infects the entire room. And then it just bounces over everything. And suddenly it doesn't look like what you see with your naked eye, for example. So flash, to be honest, takes a little bit more skill because you don't actually really see the light. That's perhaps the difference between flash and continuous light. Whereas continuous light, what you see is what you get. You want brighter, you move it closer, you dial it brighter, you can see the light becoming brighter. And that's what you shoot, right? Of course, the downside of shooting continuous light is the fact that it's very hot. Sometimes if you're using tungsten or you're using HMI, it's very, very hot, unless you use LED. But then again, LEDs, if you need to have LEDs with a very good CRI to have a very good quality of light. And then on top of that, LEDs today, as much as there are some amazing ones that go through lenses to project the light and give an output, but it's still not as bright as your tungstens or the HMI. And with LED, even though they're projecting a certain output like 2K light, you're still not getting that punch of a light. Tungsten still has that beautiful punch, that beautiful hot spot that LED still quite doesn't get there yet. It's a very technology thing. It's not there yet.
That's right.
But it's slowly getting there. It's slowly getting there with LEDs, I think.
Single source.
Single source, brighter. Aperture has been pushing quite a lot of very interesting LEDs. In terms of the LED tubes that I'm using, I'm using Digital Sputnik, and what's the other brand I'm using? I can't remember. Daniel, can you remember the name? The whole set. Shit. Anyway,
Titan.
Titan.
The Titan, but that's the brand. That's the model, Titan. The tube is anyway. Okay. Yeah, but the tubes are model titans.
We can
Okay.
we can always do a demo after we can re-enter our
Mm.
studio. Yeah, we can do a
Mm.
live session, with the light tubes, yeah. Exterior, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, Astera, that's right. Astera
Astera,
Titans.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I have the whole set, 8 tubes in a bag, charged and everything. Very, very, very useful. Super good. You can choose whatever Lee filters you want. They have the whole catalog inside. Yeah.
Wow. Zain, not bad, you remember. Zain was our intern as well. Very good. Yeah.
Liking, okay, from DGT, liking the blend of light, precise signs and light. Do you engineer catch lights? Well, DGT has a very good questions about catch light. Also, for example, looking at this, yes, catch lights are very important. Here, as you can see, there's a beautiful line here. That is always nice. It attracts the human eye to seeing something. I don't really, I mean, I always make it a point to have a bit of a catch light in my eye, for example. Obviously, some doesn't reach all the way, but like this picture, I think it's perfect. You get two little catch lights. So when you position your light in the right place, when you get the right catch lights, it's always beautiful. Yeah. So make it a point to always have catch lights in your shot. Like this one, you see, your eye doesn't go there. It's in shadow, obviously, right? So it's not as your eye doesn't gravitate towards the face when you don't have a catch light. I always feel it should be glossy. It should be bright. So yes, catch lights are very important. Very
So
important.
for those
Look
who
at that.
want to learn catch light, who wants to see catch light, right? Actually, go and watch all the K drama. The K drama has got the most beautiful catch light I've been looking. Yeah, it's like wow, the catch light is always you have that sparkle and it's always that sparkle. So I think it's a good stepping stone for all of you to watch the K dramas and see how they light with natural lighting to make it look very natural lah. But yeah, if you watch the latest I think what's that Claude, yeah, you can see all the softbox, the scream, everything is like all around, but they try to make it look so natural at the same time as well. Yeah, so do
Another
photographers
thing
still use
about
light meter?
Yeah, another thing about catch lights is for a lot of photographers who are learning lighting, that's a big, big, big telltale sign for you to find out what kind of light that photographer is using. Always go straight to the eye. You can look at the reflection of the eye, whether is it a softbox, whether is it a tube, whether is it an umbrella, a beauty dish. You can always tell by looking at the eye. Yeah. So do yourself a favor, go and reverse engineer and break down, deconstruct people's photography by looking at the eye. Zoom into the eye. That's a very, very good place to start. Yeah. Okay. Nobody, in terms of light meter, it's very personal, I believe. I believe there's still a lot of photographers using light meters. To me, light meters are just a bunch of numbers that complicates me. As much as I know, what's important as an aperture in terms of readings and f-stops, but end of day, to me, a light meter is for when you cannot see the image. But today in digital, we can see the image. We press one time, we look at the behind of the camera. We press one time, we look at the computer, we see the image, right? To me, in the old days, when you press the button, you can't see the image because it's film, right? Because it's film, you're gonna see it 2 days later, right? You need to figure out what your aperture is going to be, that's why you need a light meter. So to me, a light meter is kind of something that got lost along with film. Sad to say that. But you can actually be very, very accurate, I guess, with light meter readings. But for the general amount of photographers, to me, it might also complicate you because you might be so inundated with so much numbers that it becomes a little bit complicating sometimes, perhaps, maybe, right? Another thing about exposure meters is, for example, flash. You take an exposure meter, you go to the flash, you pop one time. You go into the flash, you pop another time. What did you just do? You just wasted, I don't know how many cents or how many dollars of that flash tube. Every flash tube contributes to the death of your flash tube, right? You are essentially killing the lifespan of your flash tube by popping the flash, taking readings, right? Which you don't really need. right? You take a shot, you look at your camera, you look at your laptop, it's too bright, dial it down. It's too dark, bring it up. Done. What's there to exposure read, right? Don't overcomplicate photography sometimes. I feel, at least. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Any other questions? Maybe a question related to COVID. This software seems awesome for the planning of lights. And from the preview you showed us, the outcome looked quite true to the final result. So the question is, will this then replace photographers in future? No, no, not yet. Because why? Very simply, okay, very simply, the quality of I mean, if you look at the new PlayStation lah, new PlayStation with the PS5 and everything, Unreal Engine and everything, it is getting there, but to me, resolution and so on and so forth is not quite there yet. But I think, who knows, at some point in the mid to far future, perhaps CG will take over, right? It has already taken over in car photography, right? A lot of cars are CG, right? In the automotive industry, car photography, it's, I would say 50% of the cars are CG.
Yeah.
If
And
not,
do you know that
not more.
IKEA's
Yeah.
catalog, yeah, everything is
80%.
CG. Yeah.
80%. Yeah.
Yeah. All the set everything that you see, the furniture sets, everything, it's all CG. Yeah.
Yeah. In those IKEA catalogs, 80% of it is CG. So yeah, it will get there. It's a matter of, technology being, but you see, even if you have the technology, you have software that can do this shit, right? You need somebody to still know how to light, no? Somebody will still need to move that light in the software, in the virtual world, to make it look good. Don't you think? So perhaps you should take on the role of being this creative person that knows what good light is, and not just being a photographer, for example. Now you should be that rounded person, that creative person, so to speak. Do I make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Any other questions here on this? Because we have time, I can always hop to the other image. No? Okay, let me open up the behind the scenes maybe of that picture. So the other picture that was quite well received, let me see, let me find that picture right here. So this is the other picture that is pretty well received in terms of votes. So this is the number 2. So let's go ahead and break this down a little. Yeah, let's go and break this down a little. Okay, so here's the lighting setup. As you can see, in terms of the lights that was used. Okay, if you can join me again to figure out how many lights you reckon are used here. Go cheat, go back. Mm-hmm. 4, 5, 6. Oh, Clement just done lah. 6 lah. Zin 3, 5. Okay, bring it on. Okay, cool. 4, 3. Interesting. 4 to 5. Vans trying to what? Okay, cool. All right. So if you look, if you count, roughly, we got 1, 2, 3. I got another one on the opposite side of this, 4, right? That's 4. As you can see, 1 left tube, 1 right tube. That's 4, 5, 6. Okay. There's in fact 2 more tungsten lights. I don't know if I use those tungsten lights or not. Let me see. Let me just look at this. Did I use those tungsten lights? I could have used those tungsten lights. Yeah. I could have used those tungsten lights to create a little bit of warmth. As you can see here, I've got 2 tungstens. 1, 2, right? That is to create a little bit of warmth. She's in a different outfit because we were testing 2 different wardrobe to see which looks the best, right? So ultimately it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me check. Let me just make sure it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 2 kickers in the background, just to give it a little bit of warmth. Let me explain to you here. All right. So your main light, your main key light again is coming from the top, sculpting the face in terms of that's coming from this beauty dish here. It's coming from this beauty dish here. Okay, that's my main light. That's the one coming right down into the face. Okay. And to the side view of it, if you look at the side view of it, these two lights are actually side by side. They are almost together and they're hugging and they almost becoming one light source. The giant softbox and this beauty dish are acting as one. They are both acting as one, literally acting as one. Okay, I'll explain to that to you later on why. And the beauty dish has also a grid spot so that I can totally focus the light and not spill it all over the place. Okay. And then another thing, all of you will also wonder is why am I not shooting on a red color paper and shooting on a gray color paper, for example, right? Anybody can answer why I'm not using red even though my shoot is supposed to be a red color? Yes, exactly. Everybody, exactly. Well done. Super.
Wow. All them pros, yeah.
Well done. Okay lah, go home already.
Okay
No
lah, I
need
think we
already
can
lah.
stop already.
No need already lah. No need already. Clear all drawings. Okay. Why am I drawing? So strange. Okay. Yeah. So exactly. Once you have red paper, it's going to bounce all over the place and your dress, the blacks will start to look reddish, right? The gold will start to look over red and so on and so forth. So I had to control it and I decided to make it gray and repaint the red and create it all in post, right? So that's exactly why I wanted gray, to be able to control where I want it to be red and where I want it to be light, right? Because if I red paper, then it's just bouncing all over the place, very simply. Okay, so your beauty dish with a grid to control the main key light. This softbox above ultimately acts as a hair light and a rim light from the top. And the two long tubes that you can see here, these are the tubes, right? These are the specialized Pro Photo light tubes. Acrylic tube, right? Very, very beautiful light, lovely for products, for bottles, example, because there's no creases like a softbox. You can put this tube right up to the bottle. It's going to be a clean highlight. You're not going to get a fold of fabric or whatsoever. You're just going to get a really clean light. So that's beautiful for products. But I use it for fashion. I use it for people. I think it gives a very clean catch light in the eye, like a tube, like a LED tube, for example. So I've been playing with this for a long time. These are wrapped with red colored gels to push back into the red. I wanted that red light to fill in all the mid-tones, okay? So the mid-tones and the shadow ultimately. So I'm going to explain to you what this encompasses in terms of that whole idea of filling in light, right? Filling in light where it's not happening, okay? So let me show you this very quickly. I'm going to open project, right? Open project, discard, and then let's see, raw doc CNY set. Okay, so how come my pen is still on?
Actually, DGT, this is a very large studio. So yeah, yeah. I think it use white. I think with gray it is you literally don't get so much bounce. Even if you use white, white will bounce back into the it will just cause that bit of light spill here and there. Yeah,
Yep.
so gray will always be neutral, and then black will give a negative feel as well. So this is the part where you need to understand all these minor just whole feel image.
You're breaking up, Brian, but yes. Essentially, this was my old studio, actually. This was my old studio. It was huge. Studios, you need to understand. You need to understand the kind of space that you're working. If you remember, raw, Raw is very small, right? Let me go to raw. Let me find raw. Yeah, you see, this is raw, right? Raw has a very small space. The ceiling is super low. It's white, right? It doesn't allow me to do a lot of things, and because the ceiling is so low, I have to behave in a certain way. When when you can when you can have a big studio, your ceiling can be a lot higher. You can control light better because with a smaller studio, obviously this light will very quickly bounce into the ceiling and come back. It's not going to diffuse off. So you need to be able to control your lighting a lot more if you're in a small studio, for example, right? In a big studio, I can fire off one light. By the time it reaches the ceiling or it reaches the left wall or the right wall, it becomes inconsequential, right? Then it comes back, it's fine. So sometimes having a big studio has its advantages, obviously. I like white studios primarily because I shoot people. It's easier to have more bounce. I like to open up my shadow. It's just my style. But there are some photographers who like black studio because they like more contrastier images, for example. So it really depends on the kind of photographers that have their styles, for example, right? Okay, so we're going to start off with this. I roughly measured the rough size of my studio before. So this was roughly the height and length and width of my studio, if not bigger actually. I fluffed it up a bit, but it's about there. So let's start off. Okay, let's pull in our main light. Let's get a beauty dish. Let's get a beauty dish. Okay, get rid of the light stand. Right. Let's come in here. Move the light right up here. Boost the brightness. Okay, and then I'm going to come up. Right, and then maybe I'm coming down a little bit more. It's kind of hot. I'm gonna aim down lower. I'm gonna move closer. Okay, right. So let's see side view. Let's see side view. Right. Okay, I'm gonna push it in a bit more. The angle of attack of the light is rather steep, and that's usually how I like my light to work. I like it to come at a very, very steep angle because then I will get really, really nice sculpting of the light. Okay, obviously this light now is too bright. Let's dock it down, and then I'm gonna maybe add a grid. I'm gonna add a grid so that it's controlled, right? And then by gridding, I obviously missing the mark. I'm gonna hit it right into the face, but then I'm gonna diffuse it down by throwing it down towards the chest, right? I'm going to push the light so the chest so that it doesn't burn so much on the forehead. It doesn't burn so much on the forehead. I'm going to push the light down a little bit, yeah? So there you can see, it's almost there. It's kind of nice. Maybe I'm going to finesse it up a bit so that I'm there. Okay, that's kind of cool. Might even move it closer a little bit to get that because the girl was chin up. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with this. As you can see, the angle of attack is very, very steep. Very, very steep here. Look at that. Oops, sorry. There, right? See, so steep, the angle. Very, very steep, right? Okay, so I'm happy with that main light. It's doing its purpose. It's concentrating on her head and her body, which is great, and the outfit. Kind of like it there. Let me off the studio lights. Okay, Zane, off studio light. Oh, studio light off. Okay. Softbox. That was lame. Okay. Let's get a large. Let's get a big ass. That's about the same size. Yeah, if not, maybe my softbox is even bigger actually, I think. 50 by 150. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, cool. Right. Let me bring this light, get rid of the light stand. Let me swing it. I think I need to swing it first. This is very tricky. I hate spinning the light. Maybe I can, is it here? Is it roll? Eh. Yeah, there. Okay, cool. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it behind. I'm gonna come forward. Okay. Spin it here, bring it up. Not too high, about here, and then start to move in here. Okay, Maybe I moved in some more. Yeah. Okay, you remember I was telling you that these two lights are acting as one. As you can see, I'm overlapping them almost. They are starting to become one light already. Yeah, coming almost like a clamshell from the top, right? A reverse clamshell. I do a lot of this kind of clamshell lighting, in every possible combination. Right? It can come from the side, it can come from the front, it can come from the top. Again, it's a clamshell. By doing this, I'm able to sculpt very, very well. Clamshell lighting is a very powerful way of sculpting light. Again, so I'm going to boost this out. As you can see, it's starting to look kind of beautiful. It's a bit of a flare, right? Cutter, assistant, cutter. Okay, cool. I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna bring the camera down. And then I'm gonna zoom in. And bring the camera. Okay, there. Okay, no flare, right? Okay, maybe I think my settings. Let me do my settings a bit. Let's bring up my shutter speed to maybe 250 so that I get better detail. Yeah, that's looking better. Maybe bring it up more. Okay, let's not talk flash lah, huh? Because now I'm working with but yeah, okay, just to get it right, okay, just to get it right. Here, let me just cut down one stop. Yeah, there. That's very nice. You can see here. You can see here. You see? Can you see here? Beautifully lit. Nice. What you call it? Contrast, right? Very nice contrast. Nice shadows in the right places. Everything is beautiful in that sense. So, I'm happy here. Very, very happy here. Okay. So that's good. Happy with that. Okay. I'll bring in two tubes. Okay. My tube can come in the form of a strip light lah, huh? I don't have, that's too wide. I think too long. Let's cut this down. Let's bring a shorter one. Yeah, maybe that's cool. Maybe that's cool. I'm gonna get a color gel. Let's go full on red. It's full on red here. That's kind of nice, right? And I'm gonna put it left, and then I'm gonna get another one. I'm gonna put it right. Okay, for me, a lot of times it's about symmetry. Okay, if you look at this top plan view, look at the plan view here. Okay, if I have this light exactly here, my other light here should be exactly in the same position, in the same distance, in the same angle. And then from there, I know I'm going to get exactly the same look, right? Exactly the same look. Okay, 1, 4, 3, give and take. 1, 4, 3. Nice. Okay, right? A bit too bright, a bit too bright. Let's break it down, cut it down, maybe there. Yeah, there. Let's cut it down, maybe there, right? Yeah, kind of cool, kind of cool, kind of opening up already, right? Maybe I need it brighter. I need it brighter. So let's brighten this more. Finessing, this is me finessing already. This is me going to the assistant. Okay, give me point 2 there, point 3 there. Okay, cut half stop. Add me 2 clicks, add me 1 click. Finesse. Yeah, kind of happy here, right? Kind of happy, it's kind of there, right? Maybe I should open up my values a bit. Maybe I can throw a few white reflectors. I can throw a few white reflectors around just to open up overall values. Okay. There. Yep. Okay. Come here. There. Almost. Right. Maybe I open it up a bit.
Geoff, there's a question that asks, why do you put a black reflector on the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side? Yeah, so while you're setting up, maybe
Okay.
multitask a bit.
Okay. Was there a black reflector? Let me see. Okay. Because my wall, I wanted to cut the bounce of the wall. I wanted to cut the bounce of the wall on this side. I want to create a slightly darker elbow because this hand is facing the wall, the white wall, and this hand was fully exposed. So it was getting a lot of bounce. So I wanted to create more contrast on one side. This other hand is hidden. So I don't need to create so much contrast. So, okay, yes, very sharp eyes. Let me get rid of this. This white wall here was bouncing. So I get rid of this. Get rid of this one. I'll bring in a black, for example. All right. Very good. Who's that? Sharp eyes. Very good. Done. So I wanted to create more contrast for that arm, for example. Right? Yeah, kind of. Maybe this beauty dish can cut down. It's a bit too bright. The face is a bit too pale. Yeah. Yeah, almost.
Yeah, because she's standing there too long already.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any questions here? All right. I also often like to put reflectors on the floor. I love putting reflectors, but here I don't have. I don't have reflectors on the floor. Yeah, but that's something that I do quite often. I like putting reflectors on the floor to bounce light back up, to fill in all the underneath the nose, underneath the neck. There's a lot of shadows there, for example. Yeah. The flow of the dress, yeah, that was the fun bit. We decided to get a very, very long dress, and she was standing on apple boxes. Yeah, she was standing on apple boxes, and we threw the dress by spinning the dress, and then there was a lot of throwing. There was my stylist, my assistant, and all throwing at the same time to create that beautiful flow. Yeah, that was the fun of shooting it. And then we elevated her to make it look like she's floating. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this lighting? Do I make sense here? Yeah. Yes, DGT. Totally. What I could do if you have a full body shot and the head is hitting, I mean your main light is focusing on the head and shoulders, more often than not, what I could do, for example, is I could very quickly grab a reflector. So here, for example, I grab a reflector here. Instead of gold, it's silver. I never use gold reflectors. I think they're horrendous, right? They're super, super ugly gold reflectors. And then what I'll do, this reflector is actually a bit too small. What I'll do is I will put it down. Say, for example, we're going for headshot. Say we're going for headshot. Okay, let's go for headshot. Let's bring the camera up. Let's unlock the... Okay. Okay, Zane, change lens 200 mm. Okay, change. Done. Lens changed.
Hey, why you never ask Daniel to change?
Oh yeah. Daniel now studio manager leh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, right. So you have this shot, right? Okay. So let's say I spin around. Let me get rid of this. Okay, let me get rid of this. You can see better, right? I will bring this in. And quite often, can I change the size of it? Can I change the size of this reflector? Let me see. No, cannot. Sucks. Never mind. Don't use silver. Use white. Okay, use white. Okay, use white, and I will. Let's see this one. Yep. Okay, and I will. Yep. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Right, I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna bring it up, for example. I'm bringing it up now. It's a bit too big, but okay. Let's switch off this light. DGT. Okay. So yeah, this is almost what you're gonna get. That is quite typically, okay. This is what without a reflector is. I usually put a reflector right on the floor, and then I just let it bounce up. And then more often than not, you know what I also do? I will also bring another light. This is something that I do all the time. I'll bring one or two lights, right? If it's a big reflector, I potentially will bounce two lights left and right so that it's even. I'll bounce 2 lights. Okay, so this is what I do. One here, I'll grab another light, and then I'll put here, and then I'll bounce it in. Oops, I'll bounce it in. Yeah, as you can see, it's starting to open up. It's also, again, almost like a reverse clamshell as well, right? It'll open up. I will cut the power here. I will cut the power here. And yeah, you can control the amount of density that you want with the bottom light. It becomes a fill, right? Here again, let me cut it down. Yeah, right. Let's wait for the camera to, there, done. Can you see? It opens up, but it still sculpts the face. You still get the density. You still get density. To me, it's about the angle of attack. Always the angle of attack. What do I mean by angle of attack? Very simply, guys. You see my lights, they are all very extreme. They're all very extreme, very extreme. That's my angle of attack. That's why my lights are so, my pictures are so sculpted, because I'm attacking very steep. Okay. If you have a light that is not coming steep, you're not going to get a very sculpted image, right? Okay. Say, take for example, this beauty dish, right? If I'm going to move this beauty dish, oh, sorry, wrong. Girl, stay still, don't move. Okay, if I'm going to move this beauty dish, oh, the girl move. Stop moving, girl. Okay, good. All right. If this beauty dish starts to go like that, that's what a lot of photographers might do, right? No wrong in that as well, but you're just going to get a slightly flatter shot. For example, you're not going to get the shadows and so on and so forth. But the minute your light comes at a steeper angle, then you're going to get definitely a more sculpted light. You're just going to get that much more sculpting in the light. That much more sculpting in the light, right? There, right? But obviously it's too high already now, and there's a lot of shadow. So I just bring in that reflector just now. I just bring the reflector, or I just bounce it into the white floor. If I have a white floor, I just bounce the white floor, you know, or I put a silver cloth. I go to Spotlight. I have a lot of silver cloths in the studio. I buy big pieces of silver fabrics that I can cut to size that I can wrap my big styrofoam boards with, and I can place them anywhere I want, right? But then again, be very careful with what kind of floor you have. For example, if the floor that you have is, for example, a wooden floor, right? If it's a wooden floor, when you bounce into the floor, it's going to bounce up with a warmish tone. It's not going to bounce up clean, for example. So you got to always remember what kind of floor you have within the studio. Say, for example, you come to RAW, you use RAW, you bounce into the wooden floor, it's going to come up and give you an orange tint. That could be nice or not, for example. Yeah. My cone theory from camera. Wow, that one. How do I explain this? Oh, that one, maybe you must join my workshop, no?
Yeah, the mentoring.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find something to open to show you. This is all from my workshops. Yeah, this all paid one leh. Hello. But never mind, give you freebie today. Okay, my cone lighting theory, right? Quite simply, very simply, today in a good mood. Okay, if you this red cone, this is to me my no-go area. I will never put a light in this cone area, give and take. You think about it, right? This red zone, this is the light coming from the red zone. You put a light somewhere here, you're going to get a very flat light. But the minute you get out of the red zone, your picture is going to look sculpted. There's going to be so much more depth, so much more 3D, so much more rounding in your images, right? So for example, quite simply, right? Anywhere here, I move my light. All this works in a spherical manner as well. Right? This is how I move my light. This is where all my lights exist. All my lights exist around this area, right? Around this area, very simply. And it also works in a cone. It comes out not only from the top, right? Not only from the top, but it spins and it goes in the cone around me. So again, it works from a side view, from the top view, from the bottom view, that is what my light comes from. Yeah, that's how all my lights come from. You see, my angle of attack is always in this area, right? I never attack from the red zone. And that's because you see my light is very clean, no, not clean, but very contrasty. And it creates a lot of shadowing, a lot of depth. Why? Because the human face has so much nuances. Every face has a cheekbone that is different. Every eye has a socket that is deeper and more shallow, right? Every nose that is longer or shorter. Every lip that's thicker or thinner. Every jawline, every side, cheekbones, neck are all very different. And you want to adjust your angle of attack to compensate for all this protrusion in the face, for example, right? For example, right? It just comes across very, very sculpted. Very, very sculpted. Okay, going back to short lighting, when I was telling you, look at movies, right? Movies are always like that. All movies are like that. They love to use short lighting. That's why movies are so cinematic. And that's how I like my photographs as well. Like a movie. Like a movie. Right? All short lighting. Right? You know what I mean? So short lighting is also, the angle of attack is very, very steep. That's why there is a lot of depth in the pictures that I take, for example. But then again, that's my style. There are obviously a lot of other photographers that have very, very diffuse light or very flat light that makes their picture a little bit more dreamier, softer, and so on and so forth. Yeah, right. Top 3 movies you draw inspiration photography from. Wow. I really don't know. I really don't know. There's always new movie coming. But I can tell you, one of the recent series that really got me has been Mindhunter. Right? Mindhunter. That series on Netflix about the FBI investigating serial killers. Right? I think that is perhaps one of the most well-lit series because the director was formerly a DP as well. Yeah, okay. Cool. For example, anything else? There's a question from Facebook coming from, say again, hang on. Oh, okay. Any other questions from Facebook coming?
So far, no. Looks
Okay.
good.
Okay. Any questions? Any more questions? I'm in a very generous mood today. I'm giving you free stuff from my paid content. Anything? Pick 5. Which is pick 5? Which is pick 5? Daniel. Which was pick 5?
Hold on, give me a moment. Look.
The Ang Mo guy. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the guy running.
Oh, yeah.
The guy running is essentially a. Let's see. Where is that shot? Do I have it here? I have it here. Where is it?
Sabi, what
this
do you
one.
mean by even lighting? Because even lighting can be, to us, a balanced lighting, it could mean a lot of things. Yeah. So what earlier on Geoff shared about, broad lighting is that it could potentially become very flat and make the person look rather fat. Yeah. So therefore, the angle of attack is usually much steeper. Yeah.
Maybe even lighting. This is even lighting. This is kind of
Mm.
even, flattish looking, right? These are all really old work. Even lighting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's even lighting. I don't really do even lighting to start with. This is not exactly, well, this is kind of even lighting, but it's also very hot in essence. These are all really, really old work. As you can see, the date 2007.
If you're looking at lighting that are very very soft, like soft all around, it's probably a lot of diffusion and very big light source, very close up. Yeah, so that everything is very very nice and soft. One thing to note is also to understand better the inverse square law, so that the shadows and everything as you position your light. This is very important. Yeah, not just about angle, but the distance where you put a 2x3 softbox, and then if you put it like 3 meters away, it's actually the shadow can be quite harsh. But if you put it like 0.5 meter away, you can get a very very soft light with just another reflector. Yeah.
Yes, exactly right, Brian. Exactly right. Yeah, so that number 5 lighting, huh? Number 5 lighting. Yeah, I could quickly show you. I think we could do that.
So Jeff, before you get on to
Yep.
that, there's a
Yep.
question from Taeyong. Do
Yep.
you DI the red for the background other than using the red cubes for the previous photo?
For the previous photo, do I DI the red?
Yeah.
There's definitely DI lah. There's definitely color grading to boost certain values in the reds and to pull certain values away from the highlights so that it's not overtly red as well. So there's definitely finesse in the retouching. That's for sure. Right. I think I can remember telling the retoucher to remove some red out of this black because maybe the red was a bit too overpowering in the black as well. So we did remove some of the desaturate the reds in the black as well to make it more black, for example. Yeah, that's something that I do. Okay.
Yeah. So regarding the cinematic look, it's all about the lighting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about lighting. I mean, if you look at this series of mine, it's all shot with tungsten lights. It's all shot with movie lights, tungstens, right? It's all lit with fluorescence and tungsten. That always makes it look very very cinematic. And then you use a long lens. You shoot very daringly lah, essentially.
Yeah. So I think one way to achieve that is that for a start, maybe try to use natural lighting. When you go outside, try to find that kind of very very strong lighting. At the same time, shoot at a very steep angle so that somewhat like maybe about kind of almost backlit, I would say. And then you try to finesse a little bit to find the angle to get it a bit more cinematic, and then add in a reflector. So you don't have to always use artificial light to learn. I think the sun is the best thing to learn. So maybe wake up a bit earlier, start shooting at 7:30 a.m. or do an evening light so that the angle of the light is a bit more steep lah. Yeah, more acute angle.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a very good point, Brian. If you echo back, if you echo back this image, for example, right? If you echo back this image, say, this image, right? You look at this highlight in the hair, right? And then you go back to that studio shot, and then you see the highlight in the hair. It's almost the same source, the same angle of attack. Do you see where I'm coming from? Right? Can you see these two pictures? Does it open two pictures back to back? No, are there? Right?
Yep.
See? Right? One is totally sunlight. This is just one sun, right? And then here you see the same emulation. So, my eye gravitates to this kind of things. I see light like that in a very steep, in a very linear way somehow. Yeah. Okay.
Don't be too engrossed or going in too deep of learning how to use like 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights. It's all the same as long as you can understand the very basic of just using natural light to get the effect that you want, and then adding in a reflector or adding in a negative field to get certain look. I think you will be able to understand when you go into a studio. Okay, now I will have my light just like how the sun comes in, and then what does this other thing do? So you just add on layer by layer, and you can get the theory is the same whether you're indoor or outdoor.
Yep.
Yeah.
End of day, it is about knowing where to stand, right? If you stand in the right place, and you position your model opposite, in between you and the sun. I always position my model in between me and the sun. I'm always on the opposite side of the sun. The sun is never behind me. More often than not, the sun is always in front of me, right? And that's how I create all these beautiful highlights and hairlights and rim lights. And then I shoot into the shadow. I'm literally exposing for shadows and midtones. I'm letting the highlights, the sun or the whatever burn and create a rim. That's the philosophy of my lighting. See, there's always a very strong source coming from behind, right? From behind. There's always a rim. Always a rim in that sense, right? So even when I'm outside in daylight, I position myself daringly, shooting right smack into the sun. And that's why I have these beautiful highlights, wherever I am, right? It's just about knowing where to position yourself, knowing where to position your model, where your camera is going to be in relation to the light. You're going to get that kind of look, right? Same thing is studio. You can move the sun. I mean, your sun, so to speak. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Would like to hear more about Geoff's work blending natural light and strobes outdoors. Wow, that's a long conversation, bro.
Yeah.
That's a whole other workshop, which I will go through with you because you're in my program. So I will spend time teaching you that one-on-one. No worries, Danon. Awesome. How do you shoot backlight without blacking the face? Yeah, definitely. You use a bit of reflector sometimes. You shoot raw. You do recovery. You use recovery in Capture One to bring back the shadow areas. Or you put a very small white reflector, not too close, far away, just to give a subtle bounce. Yeah, you want to finesse that bounce. You don't want to be too heavy-handed with your bounce.
Yep.
If it's too heavy-handed, it defeats the purpose of it backlighting. Then you're just killing everything again. You're going back to your flat, right? Because your reflector is coming from your red zone. So you need to know how you position your light and your reflectors as well. Okay, yeah. So I think today takeaway for all of you is essentially, don't be afraid and be bold with lighting. Don't be afraid to be steep with your lighting in terms of how you position the angle of your light coming down. Don't be afraid of it. And then don't be afraid to put the light behind your model and to have the light coming right into your camera. It's okay. It really is okay. Because if looking back at this, sorry, not this one. Looking back at this, if you notice, I have big time cutters. I have a lot of cutters. My camera is under here. This is my camera somewhere here, right? A cutter here, a cutter on top, a cutter here to block the amount of flare coming into my camera, because my angle of attack of this softbox, this beauty dish, is so steep that it's flaring right into the lens. It's flaring right into the lens. So I use a lot of cutters to cut down on flare all the time so that I don't get flat up images. Yeah. Okay, do I make sense there? So yeah, I'm seriously very I'm very daring with my lighting. To be honest, I'm very, very daring with my lighting. I think that's one of the reason why I like the way I light, is because I'm very daring. I'm not afraid to put light in a certain place, and then I fight it, because light doesn't always have to be, in a certain way. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, we are coming almost close to the end
Yeah.
of the session, so maybe let's have a chat, and then maybe
Yeah.
we answer some questions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's talk about equipment and things like that. I
Yeah.
believe that you guys have been looking and see that, wow, to learn it's a bit difficult and things like that. And okay, the thing is that at Raw, when you rent our studio, what you get is that it comes with all these lights. There's LED lights that you can use. There's all these mono blocks that you can use as well. It's free. as long as you rent a studio. So you don't have to pay extra to add 1, 2, 3 lights. It all comes there, and then if you need help, you can always get Daniel to help you, you know, and he will share setups and things like that. Yeah, it's okay. So, but alternatively, because our studio we haven't reopened, right? So what we do is that we actually tie up with camera rental center. Okay, so with camera rental center, I think there's a they have I think they have pro photo lights, right? And I
Yes,
believe
they
they
have pro
also
photo
have,
lights that you can rent.
yeah,
Yep.
they also have LED lights
That you can rent as well.
you can rent, so
What's
that
what's really interesting,
you
Brian?
shoot at home.
Sorry, you were breaking up. Yeah. To add to
Yeah,
what
go
Brian
ahead.
was
Yeah,
saying, yeah, he was breaking up. Um, CRC has pretty much the same equipment that we have that you can rent as well. The wonderful thing currently with CRC is the fact that if you rent their equipment, and Brian, you told me last week or the week before you rented equipment from CRC to do one of your test shoots, they sent all the equipment to your house
yep,
free.
at home.
Free.
Yeah,
Above $50 of rental, they will
yes,
send the equipment to you free. So that's kind of cool right now because you don't have to go out there and get the lights. So I thought when Brian told me, that he got equipment, I said, huh, where do you get those equipment from? It was delivered
yeah.
to him. So that was really, really
Because I
cool.
cannot go back to the studio and get. Yeah. So instead of breaking that law,
Mm-hmm.
we get them to send to me for a small sum, and then because there also, of course, we know that there's a lot of students here, and then most of
Yeah.
you are not making money yet. So we ask them, say, hey, maybe first, so yeah, we have that for you as well.
You are
So
breaking up
I
quite badly,
can't.
Brian. You are breaking up
Okay.
quite badly.
I
You
think
are
my
breaking up
connection
quite
is quite
badly.
bad because I'm loading a lot of screens here. So maybe Geoff,
Yep.
yeah,
Another thing that CLC, because we know that all of you, after this, for example, will be very keen on lighting and so on and so forth. We have managed to get you guys some pretty cool deals at CLC. If it's your first time renting anything with CLC, just have to mention RAW, and you can get a 20% off your first rental with CLC. On top of the free delivery above $50. So I think that's quite a deal. If you want to practice anything, with your wife, with your child, in terms of lighting, with what I just did, you can totally do it at home, right? You can totally do it at home because to me, end of day, seriously, as much as you all find this software to be very, very interesting and very fun to play with, yes, you can learn everything, but until you physically move a light, right? Not just set a light in that software, pun intended, until you physically move that light, right? And you expose for that light and you shoot and you hear the pop, you are never going to be able to fully master lighting until you literally move it yourself and take that picture and see the result, right? So please, please, please do yourself a favor, buy some lights, rent some lights, grab whatever lights you have. It can be a lamp, it can be a fluorescent tube at home, it can be a torchlight. Go and play with lighting. I promise you, it's one of the best ways of
yeah.
learning.
So and the best part is it is not expensive. Yeah, it is not expensive at all. So okay, just imagine this. Okay, for 5 days of rental, okay, it comes with one Pro Photo B1, which is it means that you don't have to have power. You can just have it on battery so that maybe you can shoot in your corridor.
Yeah.
And then
Okay, Brian,
a
very
white
bad.
umbrella, a black silver umbrella, and a tripod. Yeah.
Okay, you're
Okay.
talking about the package that
I think today
CLC
too many
is.
people. Yes.
Are you talking about the
Yeah.
package that CLC? Perhaps you can post it on
Yes.
Raw's website. Facebook.
Yep.
So that people
Yeah.
can know what CLC is offering for our community, because I think what we are trying to do is to find good bargains for all of you to get you guys going, right? I think that's very important right now. We all need to train, we all need to get ready for the opening up of the phase 1, phase 2, and whatever.
Yep.
So let's learn as much as we can. All right.
Yeah, we'll try to find more good deals for all of you so that so everybody can get to benefit as well. Because we already have our own equipment. So for those who are trying out, it's the best
Yeah.
learn.
Okay. I've got a question I will answer. Don't worry. Yeah. Your stay. I will answer those questions. I believe there are a few questions that are still floating. I will answer you in a minute. Let me answer this very quickly. For those of you who are keen on Set a Light, this is Set a Light. Yeah. Okay. They should pay me money for selling. Okay. Okay. Going back to the question that who is it? Delvin has. Is it Delvin? Yeah. On the red pick, the round light on the floor and wall and floor you create on Photoshop. I don't get you lah. Can you come and talk to me? What round
Yeah,
light?
if you open up the red pit, right?
Yeah. Hang on. Oh, you're talking about the glow, is it? The round glow, is it?
Glow light.
Yeah. This glow, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all done in Photoshop, correct. We created I recreate what the beauty dish was creating in terms of that shaft of light, that glow on the floor. We recreated the entire light in Photoshop
Okay.
because we
How you get it from the shots?
yep, I mean my retoucher took the essence of it in terms of from my raw, and then he shaped it into an elliptical shape that would then look natural. The shadows as well, we also pulled the real shadows from the master shot so that there is multiple shadows, so it looks more real rather than just one shadow, if you can see here, right?
All right.
So when you have multiple shadows, it always makes things look a little bit more natural in that sense. The minute you put one shadow, it just feels very fake in that sense. That's why we created a multiple shadow. And I told him to grab whatever real shadows and recreate those real shadows back into the shot. As much as we key her out completely, we totally etched her out and we just rebuilt the whole background. Yeah, do I make sense?
Cool. Thank you.
Not at all, man, brother. Cool. Alrighty. Any other questions I missed? Anybody want to bump up some questions to me? It's been running around. So yeah, this is that Set a Light software, kind of cool. They are in version 2.5 now. Yeah, you can do a lot of shit lah. Really, you can play. There's some pretty nifty things that you can really do. But it takes a lot of effort to move those things. It's not so easy. There's some people I saw who do some pretty amazing shit like, wow, they do this, put background and we like, I believe DGT was talking something about molten background and canvas, right? What about it? Danon, what do you say? Can you speak?
Any Leibovitz look. Yeah.
Oh, that any Leibovitz there, here lor, there they can create. I
Yeah.
did something somewhat of that any Leibovitz look for a while. No, I mean not for a while. Sometime back. Let me find if I have it. Fashion, I think it's in fashion.
Yeah. Jingyi, we kind of done one color grading process already, but I don't think it's on our Facebook because we were not doing that on Facebook Live yet. So we don't have a copy of it. But yeah, we potentially will do another session because there's a new update on Capture One. Yeah, I think we can hold another session maybe later in June or July. Yep.
Yeah, so this is a fashion spread I did with a mounted background. I still have this background, by the way. I rent it. I made it. I got one of my art department guys to custom make this background. Huge piece of canvas background that's so beautiful. It's one of my prized possessions. Yep. So yeah, we were doing fashion campaigns. So that's Curtin Tong, the celebrity. As you can see, different versions of the same background shot for the same with a model and with a celebrity.
Mm.
Yeah. So here got that Annie Leibovitz look, right? Canvas backgrounds are very fun. Yeah, you can do many things with it. Here is one version of it you can do. I did something here with some guys. Oh yeah, here. Sorry. Yeah, here is also that same background that I did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I've got this love affair with this kind of patchy backgrounds. That's why I created a concrete background in RAW. So
Oh,
that
I
because
think my Instagram has
yeah, it's, Brian's
the
Instagram. Yeah.
first with the
Okay, let's go to Instagram. Brian. Yeah. This is that same wall that we have, right? Yeah, it can be done light, it can be done dark, as you
below
can see.
the canvas one.
Oh, the canvas one. This one.
No, below. Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Oh, that
There.
same background. You borrowed from me, is it?
No, this
Where?
is Siobhan's one. There. The girl alone with the duck. I think you passed it
No
already.
lah. Where?
Up.
This one lah. This is Siobhan's. This is Siobhan's background.
No.
This
Yeah.
small
Am I
one is
lagging?
Siobhan. Yeah, this small piece is Siobhan's background.
Yep.
Yep. Siobhan left it at our studio for us to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
So it's very versatile. You can
Yeah.
have it, with stands in frame, have like all the props in frame and things like that. It can be quite interesting against our concrete wall in our studio. Yeah, we would
The
love to
good
have
thing
all of you
about
visit.
Mm. Yep, carry on.
Yeah, no, I forgot what I said. Yeah,
Okay. The good thing about having a concrete wall or a
Your-
molded background or a canvas gray background is the ability for the light to react to the lighter patches and the darker patches. Then when your light is of a certain power output, the lighter patches will react to that exposure. And then your darker patches will react to a certain exposure. And then it will become patchy in that sense. So you can create quite a lot of different looks just with one background, for example. Yeah. Okay. You wish there was a rental agreement with phase one. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe you want to talk to phase one, Eugene Go, who is the local distributor, and also Shrishti is also a phase one distributor as well, not in Singapore maybe, but in India. But yeah, Singapore is Eugene. You can talk to Eugene. Maybe there might be some rental agreement. Ben, where are you from? You're in Singapore?
Yeah.
Are you in Singapore? Okay. Yeah. I don't rent mine out because I think it's too expensive to rent. If something fucks up, it's very hard for me to blame you. Yeah. So I think maybe phase one might be able to do something for you to rent. Yeah, it's definitely something to play with. A phase one is like driving a Ferrari, right? It's definitely a next level camera. You get such amazing tonality in those cameras in terms of your tonal range is amazing. The recovery is amazing. And together with Capture One, together with lighting, you can do almost anything. Yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions? I think this has to be a record for me from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. on
almost
Zoom.
11. Yeah. Okay, so while we wrap up, okay, we are going to do a lot more live streaming. As you know, I think many of us we are still unable to meet up. Much less do a big event of even more than 10 people in our studio. So I think this is the best way that we can reach out to everyone. And you can watch safely. So follow us on our Instagram, rawspace.sg. Okay, that is where you get the most updated events that we're gonna do. Like we'll just things like that. So maybe the next round, we'll do the same thing. Like choose the image and then we did that song. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we were gonna
Bye.
do
Stop.
another round of retouching and also color grading.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's trying to guess what the fuck you're saying because
Okay.
yeah, you say lah, you say my internet no good. You see lah now. You see now. Don't say people, I tell you.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let me ask you, did you enjoy today's set a light session? Did you enjoy it? I think I personally enjoyed lighting virtually because I think I'm having some kind of condition. I haven't do lighting for a while, so I'm actually enjoying lighting so much today. Not only virtually with Harriet, all the way in Jakarta, but doing this virtual session with you. I think it has been super fun. Do you guys want to see more of this kind of sessions? I want to make it one of our formats that possibly we can do every few weeks. I can bring a different image into the picture, and then you all can choose another image, and then we can just fuck around with light. Yeah, nice. You like it? Cool. Okay, let's do that. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna share with you this amazing thing. Okay, don't run away. Hang on, don't run away. Let me get this going first.
Geoff, I think you just do everything. I think my internet cannot make it. So I'm just gonna shut up for now.
Yeah, very, very clever, lor. Huh? Make your internet bad, then I have to do everything, lor. Okay, wait. Okay, guys, our next session on Tuesday next week is going to be with Kurosh today. He's a good friend of mine, a New York, London photographer with amazing beauty photography. Look at his work. So fucking refined, so fucking good. I met him when he left his hometown. I believe he's from Iran, I think. And he visited Singapore and he wanted to practice his craft in Singapore. But I told him, if you want to do fashion and beauty, fuck off from Singapore. Go to New York, and he literally did it, and he succeeded. I think he succeeded, and he's now shooting quite actively in New York and LA. He just moved to LA, so I'm going to be hosting him for talk at 8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. Singapore time. Okay, he's going to wake up at 5 a.m. to talk to us, guys. Okay, this is pretty amazing. He's going to wake up at 5 a.m. to talk to us. How cool is that? How much of a brother is he? So he's going to join us. I'm going to host him. We're going to probe him a little about how he made it in New York, and then his process, how he shoots. Very, very refined work. I love his style, his aesthetic, his approach to his beauty photography. He's a beauty specialist. He does a lot of close-up work. Very, very clean lighting, as you can see, right? So join us next Tuesday, 8:30 with Kurosh and myself. It's going to be a fun one, a rare one on top of that. Yeah, a very rare one. So do follow him and check him out. That's his Instagram, and we will get to meet him.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Do check out camera rental. With all the special deals that we got for you guys in terms of making discounts and
what is Camera Rental Center's Instagram?
Camera Rental's Instagram is, I guess people can figure out lah.
Yeah. So just when you're making your rental, just drop them a note, say that you got your contact from raw space. Yeah, they will take care of you, like how they took care of me.
Yep. Right. So I think these are the things that we want to do. We want to take care of everybody. We want to find out good deals for you. Package it up. Share the love.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Really. It keeps me alive. Seriously, it keeps me alive to, not financially but emotionally. It keeps me alive. That I know I am still doing things because I need to do things. I just can't sit on my ass doing nothing. I rather be doing this and rather than sit my ass and do nothing. So I'm very, very happy to be doing this. All right, guys. And I can speak on behalf of Brian, Daniel, Alex, all of us. We just love what we do.
Yep.
That's why we do what we do. With zero agendas, seriously, zero agendas. We just want to elevate our industry. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Yeah. Good night. Good night, everyone.
And
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you so much.